my darlings, and welcome to another episode of The Comp Queen with me, Cassie. Forgive the old background noise there. Robert Blaine's in my office today, making noises. Good to see you guys. I'm super glad to be here. We did skip last week. We had one executive in office, and that was me. So I got quite busy last week, and I was like, you know what? We're just gonna let everybody join in next week's episode. So I'm really happy to be here. Missed you guys. Horacio, good to see you. It is my pleasure to have this show. So those of you who might be joining that might be new here, might be rewatching, couple of quick things. First and foremost, we do have a little bit of a different setup. We are constantly moving and grooving around here. So let me know if there is any, if I'm too quiet, because the mic's kind of far away from my face and I'm a little bit nervous about that because I'm used to being like, hello, right into the mic. I am naturally loud, but when you're talking for like an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours on this show straight, it's I don't ever want to accidentally get my face away from there. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. I do try to go through everything pretty quickly so I can fit as much into each show as possible because we do live comps on this show. So if you guys have a comp and you're on the live, please feel free to enter your subject property that you want to see comped live on the show into the chats, and I will do my best to get to everybody's. First come, first serve. If I don't get to you, you can instant message me, and I may or may not be able to get to you. Probably not this week. Just full disclosure, we have a Crucible the next 2 days, which is our 2-day boot camp education where we teach people how to do what we do. So that being said, feel free to put your comps that you want to see comped live in the chats. Otherwise, I'll pick my own and talk forever, which I usually don't have to do. But some days it's a little bit slower off the cuff. So Guy Hodges, my dear friend. So this is a fact. Guy hates garages. Is it super hot in here? Or is it just me? Whew.
Feeling the pressure of being on camera?
I am not feeling the pressure of being on camera. My nerves of steel over here. Like I said, guys, I have historically utilized multiple programs to showcase the softwares that we use to comp nationwide. We are a nationwide business. We buy, we wholesale, we flip, we hold, all that good stuff all over the country. And so we need nationwide comps all of the time. So I have historically showcased the tools that I have used, the software that I've used, but right now, due to things, if you do not know, Batch is really the only tool that I can get full comps on at this time. And there's been some issues with some other software. So, can you comp the Viking gear in the background? I can, but I won't because then someone would know how much I paid for all of that. And look at that King Closer's belt. You know, I need a Queen Closer's crown. Maybe I should make that a thing. That's really funny though. Good to see you, Brian, as always. We've got a couple of questions in here. Hello, Louie Lou. Dang, RJ, he is a trip. I get to be around this guy every day. I know it full and well. He is my favorite adult human for a reason. He keeps it fun around here. All right, so sometimes you guys will see me pause awkwardly. We don't mind that around here. And it's because I'm writing down a comp, right? So with that being said, I like to go over garage rules. I'm reading guys' comment. I like to go over, house rules, right? So the house rules I like to go over are, essentially what you're looking to do, right? So if you have a subject property that you're looking to comp, you're ideally wanting to stay, in as close as distance as possible. So preferably the same subdivision, but there are areas where subdivisions are really stacked up on each other and they're just named different. And they're basically all the same. They're not crossing any major roads, etc. So I always say, try to stay in your same subdivision. Obviously, try just not to cross major roads if you're in that situation. You've got to use some kind of, self-determination on what you're dealing with. If you have a bunch of comps right here, but you've got one way over here across a major road that's higher, you can't cherry pick that comp. These are your comps, right? So that's the scenario I always use. You are trying not to cross subdivisions, cross major roads if you don't have to. Obviously, oftentimes you definitely have to go out of the subdivision. So you're really just looking for your blueprint property, right? You're looking for your blueprint property to be like and kind, right? So you want to keep it as close as you can. I usually start broad, as you guys know, and I start to narrow it down. I start broad to show you what the market, if the market kind of has a cap. So I start very broad on my terms. If not, I put in no rules, right? I will do ignore square footage, ignore build year, ignore this, that, and the other, everything within a mile, just to see what I'm dealing with in price points. What are my top price points, or what are my low price points, right? Because sometimes you're dealing with like a big man on a block, is what we call it, which somebody's tacked on some square footage that nobody else has sold a price or a home that's that many square feet in the past year or something like that, right? So I start broad to see what the market tells me. You don't have to do that. I used to tell people you can start with plus or minus 400 square feet within half a mile, and you want to stay within like 20 years plus or minus on the build year and see what you get. But what I find is that when we're comping nationwide and you don't have some of these easier markets and these easier comps or these easier areas, that just doesn't mean that you can't comp the property. So I do like to start broad. You'll see me do that on the show, but by all means, if you're, the rules don't always apply. Some comps comp faster. Typically on the show, I'm dealing with the more difficult ones. So you're definitely going to see me go broader just to learn a little bit about that market and what has sold their period, what's for sale their period. That brings me to another point, is that I don't necessarily not include active and pendings. I want to see what what an agent might be saying that property should be worth on the market. That is an opinion. They did list it at that. They did get a seller to agree to list it at that, so on and so forth. But obviously your sold comps are going to carry more, pack more punch. And if you've got plenty of them, they're going to be, they're going to hold a little bit more weight, or be chosen first and foremost on an appraisal. But, if it's a flip, by the time they flip it, that'll probably be a comp. You just don't 100% know that it's going to sell for that price yet. So that being said, we have all kinds of situations where, you're wanting to pay a lot more attention to those because you're in a really fast market, like here in DFW, with a lower inventory, price points are raising. I was reading something just before I came on here, like maybe 30 minutes ago or something. It was the December housing report. Sales have gone down because of lower inventory on the market. The price points have raised, I think it said, by 18%. It's kind of a crazy fast market, low inventory right now. So you pay more attention to maybe those actives and pendings because, it's changing faster. So you have to learn how to read your market. And so that all of that to say, well, that's why I pay attention to what's going on in the market around me right now. So then let's see. The other things that I like to make sure that I'm covering, pay attention to being on busy roads. Pay attention to backing up to like power plants. That's Google Street View, Google Maps view is really important. Do you back up to major road, railroad tracks? People don't like that stuff. It devalues your property. So the other thing that I like to make sure you guys pay attention to in your comps. So if you've never read an appraisal, I really encourage you to get your hands on one and read it and look at the things that they, in that specific market, that they're adding and subtracting for, aka they're adjusting for in that market, because your adjustments are going to be different per market, okay? So your adjustments are, if you have an extra bedroom or bathroom, I kind of put a rule of thumb on it, plus or minus $10,000. Now, obviously, your comps should also kind of be able to tell you on the market. That does not necessarily mean that that's what it's going to say on that appraisal. That software just spits out a number, right? So I say plus or minus $10,000 for a bedroom, for a bathroom. And then also a garage, plus or minus $10,000. So if your property has a converted garage, going back to my point, because Guy hates garages, if your property has a converted garage, it's automatically worth $10,000 less than what your comps are telling you that have a garage. If your comps actually also have a converted garage, this is why we hate conversions, garage conversions, is because they want to think that they have, that much more square footage, price per square foot. But realistically on the market, that price per square foot does not read the same to a buyer. Even if you get the appraiser to include it, like sometimes people be doing these goofy garage conversions and they still, I don't even want to get into it, but you've got to be cognizant of, is that on your comps or not? And then there are places that just don't have garages. The house just doesn't have a garage. So I would automatically just include adjustments for finished out attics. You'll sometimes see it. You don't have really a lot of walkable square footage, and people are trying to say, but it's an extra 1,000 square feet, but you can only walk in half of it because the ceilings are like this on your head. It's not an extra 1,000 square feet where you add to the value price per square foot. I would do 50% of that value. And I would be really cognizant on if your comps have basements and your subject property has basements in the same thing. If you finish out a basement, it does add value to the house, but not at the same price per square foot as the main level of the home. So 50% of that value is kind of how I look at it. So I think that kind of covers all of them. If I missed anything, let me know. I will answer your questions. So let's get to our first question from Horacio. When a major road goes down the middle of a subdivision, do you keep your comps in whatever side the subject property is in, even though both sides are in the same subdivision? That is a fantastic question. I always look at the common denominator, and this is a really important question that a lot of people kind of get wrong because they take that rule of thumb, like try not to cross major roads. Well, a 4-lane road that's a residential road oftentimes is not actually like, it's not like a busy road, but it is, right? So it kind of makes people not want to buy a house that backs up to that, but at the same time, it's a very residential street. It's not like super trafficy. You'll see a lot of those, and then you'll see places in cities like Dallas where this might happen, and it is a really busy road. I've seen it like 6 and 8 lane roads, and this is the scenario. So what I would say in that case is the comps will tell you if the data is stable. So if you have the same comp prices showing here and the same comp prices showing here, same style of homes, same build years, so on and so forth, then you are totally fine to use that comp. Now, if this part of the subdivision was built 10 years later, you're going to get an adjustment on an appraisal for that. So because they do make adjustments for the build year. But it doesn't mean it can't be used as a comp. And this is why I always go back to that point. A lot of these are rules of thumb, things that you'll look for when you're getting an appraisal. Like sometimes people get shocked by their appraisals because they're like, but this property, and it's like, you need to understand what you're comping a little bit better. But at the same time, don't overthink it too much, right? I see people get very frozen on comps, and like, to me, it's second nature, and that's why I do this show. This show is so important to me for reasons like this, because this isn't hard stuff for me, but at the same time, I learned it over many years and lots of comping and lots of experience of being an investor. So I see people get frozen on this when they're kind of even established people who've been investors, or I see realtors who are well in that will give comps that I'm like, are you for real? So this show is really important to me to kind of give you those rules of thumb, make sure you understand what those adjustments would look like on an appraisal. Like I said, absolutely read an appraisal. If you've never read one, get your hands on one and read what those adjustments look like from the subject property and the property that the appraiser had to choose for the comps. And you'll understand a little bit more about those adjustments, right? So with that being said, crossing the roads is not as big of a deal to an appraiser necessarily, but it does make a huge difference on the market. And I will say that is 1000% true. I have made this mistake in the past where I went really far back in years to say in a subdivision, thinking that that's what the appraiser would do. Do you remember this house in North Richland Hills? Oh man. I stayed in the subdivision and this blew me away. And I'm pretty sure I actually argued a little bit with the appraiser and got our appraisal adjusted for this reason. But maybe not adjusted as much as I wanted it to, but he did adjust his appraisal, and he was going out like 2 miles instead of going back another 6 months in our same subdivision. It's a really unique subdivision in North Richland Hills, Texas. And my screen just went blank for a second. Anyways, I was blown away that this appraiser went and picked this, kind of rundown house a couple miles away on like a more rural land. It was much older, instead of just going back 6 more months to look at the properties that sold in this really unique subdivision to verify the value of the property. So a lot of people will think that they're going to be able to dispute an appraisal, and they aren't going to be able to. They just didn't understand the appraisal. I've been in those shoes where I was shocked at what an appraisal came back with, and I went and I'm digging back in the day, and I'm like, what were the comps that we pulled? We learned these lessons this way. What were the comps that we pulled, and and why would our appraisal only come back like this? I gotta figure out I gotta get better comps. And I've been on the other side of that many times where I'm like, oh no, we didn't use this comp and this comp and this comp and why and appraisers do not like it. So you gotta be extra sweet when you go to dispute them. Sometimes flippers will even go to the appraisal with comps that they pulled. So I think I've done that maybe twice ever. So yeah. I don't believe in necessarily always doing that, but appraisers aren't scary or anything like that, but it's you got to be cognizant that you're dealing with a professional and not make them feel like you're trying to say they can't do their job. 876. All right. I'm going to get started comping here in just a second. Jessica, my darling, I don't know. Let's see if I can pull it up while I'm on this live. Because I am on RJ's computer. I don't have all my logins and stuff saved. Jessica wants me to comp the property that was sent to her. So I was trying to log into Podium.
Well, let me get it off the warboard.
Let's do it to it.
It's right here.
Yes, girl, yes. P.S. Jessica, I'm not the only person that's ever on the hotline, so just so you know, that was me. But I didn't know. I don't remember. I go through so many properties a day, I feel bad sometimes when I'm like, I don't know the address. All right, so I want to make sure I got, is that Lee from what you and RJ talked about this morning? Brian, question from RJ, who's sitting at my desk, posing as me. All right, here we go, loves. I'm going to get this party started. I really need to remember that I'm not supposed to sing. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, first comp of the day. And look, you guys, I know what we're saying about PropStream and Propelio, and I'm probably not going to promise I won't pull them up just to see, to do a comparison and contrast if we don't get more comps on here to comp. I am going to try to keep this ending at about 4:15. I always say that, and I always run at least 20 minutes over. But the reason why is I want to go prepare my peeps, prepare the floor a little bit for the upcoming Crucible. Is this a mobile home? Whose deal is this? Is this yours, Horacio? Oh no, this is Brian's. Okay, Brian. As my student, let me show you how I feel about mobile homes and mobile home parks. I don't even want to say it. I just want you to feel it because you know me. I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't think it's helpful. Josh, I'm super excited that you're coming to the Crucible. I'm going to pop back and forth from my face. Show my emojis. All right. Let's dig into this. It's a 1991, which is very old for a mobile home. They decrease in value rapidly. Is this in a mobile home park? Does it have a lot rent? Can it be moved? I don't like it. A lot of places you can't even comp them. So I mean, I'll pull these open, but I'm just letting you know this is not comp like a normal house. You probably can't turn this into a deal unless they give it to you. That's usually what I find. So I pulled all three of those actual comps back up. I mean, we'll just ignore the build year. Broaden this out on the square footage. I hope y'all can hear. I know it's not yours, Horacio. I had to go back up through the feed. I couldn't remember who did what in what order. I mean, the good news on this, Brian, is you do have several comps. It looks like right here. But exit strategies, which we teach our students, you know, how to run numbers on a deal. On these, a lot of times, you know, it's just a rental. You want to verify what these specific mobile homes are renting for, and a lot of times those are very difficult to find numbers on. I mean, this is crazy, but this sucker sold for $69,000. It's old. It's got about the same square footage, bed, bath. I don't think my quote unquote adjustments or appraisal rules, as I call them, really are going to apply to a mobile home. You can't add or subtract $10,000 for a bathroom in a mobile home park type of situation. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I wanted to see if these had any photos. This one's pending. It was listed at this. You could look up the photos. I would imagine there's no way that hasn't been massively flipped inside and out. Let's look at these photos. This was originally in 1983. Very similar to our subject property. I mean, our subject property is newer, has one more bedroom, but this thing looks like it has been flipped. And see the finishes, like they flipped it, but they're putting in very affordable finishes. And that's why some people like mobile homes, that this adds a lot of value in a situation like this. This extra storage and square footage, you've got a carport, things like that. So yeah, is that plausible? Sure. And that sold for 110. So just depending on what you put into it, I would say that's probably where my target ARV would be based on this and whatever is going on here. Can this be removed? Let's go to our street view. I didn't mean to go that way. So it really depends. You just got to get these at the right price. So it looks like we could easily remove this and have that same exact situation. So that, I mean, that's what I would use as my comp, because you do have comps all over the place here. Again, this is one of those rare situations where I might actually consider a mobile home flip. But, you know, part of the reason I probably feel the way that I do is I've just dealt with so many mobile homes in so many areas that I've spent so much time, you know, trying to work the numbers on them that it just was impossible. This was fairly easy for me. You know, we have several comps selling at 100, 105, 110. Another 110. So that's pretty stable. Those all look, I mean, I'll double check on the numbers, on the conditions really quick here. And you would go ahead and verify that they were as clean as that one we just looked at. But that looks like a pretty stable number all across the map. It looks like they're selling on the market for everywhere from 20 to 60, even when it's 70 for not remodeled ones that are older. So, and I would honestly have to look this up, you guys, because it's been a really long time since I looked it up, but, they used to have a restriction on lending for mobile homes, which I think has changed, where you could not get a loan on a mobile home that was more than 20 years old. Now, I haven't looked this up in a long time, so I think that has changed. And in addition, I would be trying to comp, you know, an old, you know, rotted out mobile home where it just made more sense to just go buy a new mobile home. You know what I'm saying? Situations like this is actually like kind of like a little mobile home neighborhood, not necessarily a mobile home park. So those kind of feel a little bit different to me, even if this does have like one owner, and they pay a lot rent. I would say that instead of purchasing it like a home on a lot, like they own the lot, either way, those things are kind of like important when you're running your numbers, but you just don't see a lot of comps. Or, you know, I'm from Texas. You know, our situation is a lot of times mobile homes are not in, you know, they're kind of further out. They're on more land. They tend to not be very easy to comp, and they're in that situation as well. So I get a little frustrated where I'm like, well, the land value. I don't need the 30-year mobile home to flip. I need the land to build on or whatever, you know. So it's just all these different situations with mobile homes, which make them kind of hard. But going back to this one before I go on to the next comp, yeah, I would just make sure you are dealing with similar looking ones, and then verify that these $42,000 ones look pretty run down, just to verify the comps really fast. But what I'm seeing is they're probably, see, there's only one photo of that, so I would try to look it up online. Is that a yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, those are all right around 100,000, and I don't have photos, so you'd have to go, maybe you can probably find them on realtor.com. A lot of times they'll have the older photos that are there historically. Another thing that I was going to say is in a lot of places you don't list mobile homes on the MLS. That's another reason why comping them can be difficult, and why I'm like, I don't really like to do mobile homes, because you can't actually get comps for them that are accurate. It's all pulled from public data, and sometimes that can get kind of screwy. Shocking, right? All right, let's get to some more. Let's catch up with the comments. Las Vegas in the house. I love it. Thanks for joining us today. How many comps do I run per house for due diligence form? Due diligence form? Not sure what you mean by that. I think that's a somebody else's term, or one that you made up. But when I am running comps, I run my comps. I look for 6 comps, because that's what an appraiser is going to try to get on an appraisal. I don't know if you popped in right after I went over my appraisal rules, or what, you know, comping rules, whatever I call them. I call them like comping rules, appraisal rules, adjustments, whatever. They're my rules of thumb that I like to be cognizant of when I am comping, and what I kind of repeatedly tell you guys every week on the show. So I like to try to get 6 comps that make sense, that are my blueprint comps, because and I don't think I mentioned that on today. So that would be the one thing I did probably fail to mention today, Josh. So thank you. Do I have a course on comps? I have something better. You know, I have been encouraged to put out a small product on teaching people how to comp, but episode 13, RJ? I'm on episode 13 of the 14 of the comp queen. I'm on episode 14. You know, we do have a boot camp, if you will, an education program. We have a 2-day where we teach a lot more than comps. In fact, you know, I've adjusted almost every crucible. It's called the titanium crucible. I've adjusted almost every one how I'm doing comps, be it because of a technology issue, which I've had happen many times, because it's slower streaming on our projector. And I'm like, I can't comp fast enough. You know, I've adjusted that, but we teach, you know, the whole business, not the whole business. And we have a lot of follow up after the crucible with our students. We have several of them on here. Love you guys, our Titans. But I don't have just a product on comps, and I do tend to do a lot of comps for, you know, our team to verify numbers if they're stuck on this show, for our students through the hotline. But it's a little bit more than comps, right? So it's more like, are they running the numbers right? So it's that analysis piece that we teach. And so I don't know. I know there is demand for that kind of product. But we've just not put one out, because it's like, how a la carte do we want to be? If I put a product out like that, I would stop doing this. I can tell you this: you're gonna pay me, or I'm gonna do it for free. But no, I don't have an exact product for it, as far as like an education or video type of thing. Maybe one day I'll let you know, but I'm here every Wednesday.
Education.
I am here Wednesdays at 3 Central almost every week, where you can get kind of free education. And so, you know, it's like RJ's like, it's free education. I have taught a lot of people how to comp on this show. More details obviously come to our students, and I really enjoy the Crucible stuff because I get to, you know, stay with our fam and watch their growth over time and celebrate with them and stuff like that. So I do enjoy that. Oh, my honey. Oh, Dina's on. Hi, my beautiful friend. It's so good to see you.
She still supports us?
She still loves me.
Any of my shit.
She still loves me. No, listen, I know you don't be giving our girl a hard time. I hope you had a wonderful birthday, my friend. A wonderful birthday, and thank you. She said, look at her. She said, love my ass. Damn, RJ, don't listen to him. I'm happy to see you. Maybe she wants to comp some stuff nationwide, so she came to the right place. Maybe she's just saying hey today. It's so good to see you, my love. So good to see you. All right, I'm going to get on to the next one because I'm going to try to fit in a few more and then save my voice for the Crucible tomorrow. All right, Guy, I think this one was yours. Let's go. Uh-oh. What have we done? Did I write it down wrong? Let me scroll. I don't like it when this happens.
What happened?
It's not coming up, and now I have to go try to figure out, is this Guy, honey? I think we had a typo. I think. I am not 1,000% sure, my darling.
I don't like it when other people make mistakes either.
RJ, shut up. RJ's sad because we just brought his whole setup back here. And he's like, you get to go live with my new stuff in the background for the first time. I was like, oh, Guy, honey bunny, can you double check that address for me? Por favor. I'm going to go to the next one, but I'll come right back to yours. You found it on Google Maps? I just searched it on Google Maps. Yo. It didn't come up on Google Maps. No, it comes up as a nada. Let me go back to my Dealy Whopper. It's in the middle of the road. And this is 4758, 4788. Like, that's not a thing. And it's obviously this turns into 19th. So if you would double check that address for me, I will come back to it. All right. 3804. St. Francis. I have this song stuck in my head, y'all, and I am not even playing with you. It's so hard for me not to sing in between because I do that all day long. You can ask RJ, he makes fun of me all the time. He's like, just singing away over there. Like, so I'll be going at my computer screens and doing all this stuff, and I'm just like singing in the middle of it, you know, and I'm like, I can't do that on a live when I'm pulling stuff up. It's so hard. they might they've taken down our video before. I did that. I told RJ, I said, if I didn't have such an excellent singing voice and sound just like the real song, then, well, maybe they wouldn't have taken it down. Of course, that's not accurate necessarily, but that's what I had to tell myself to feel better. Oh, what do we got here? What do we got here? This looks interesting, and I would need to pull up some more information about it. I'm thinking, but what we're going to do is go broad because I don't see anything. See what's around me, what this little direct market gives me. That's tough. I've got nothing sold right here, which I find very odd. So I'm going to double check my filters. Go back a little bit further, go broad. It's, yeah, I was going to say it's really hard for me to believe there's nothing right here. And you'll see that sometimes, you guys. Just saying. So I like to look at the closest in distance. So I scroll like this before I start thumbing up stuff. And then I like to see, okay, what does my property look like? Here's my property. Here's that. That doesn't look like a blueprint to me. Here's that. That's closer. So I might look first and foremost at this, that's crazy. 1872 square feet. So we've got more square footage by a lot. And this is where those adjustments start to come in place. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to have to look multiple places on this one. This is a tough nut to crack. What's interesting is like sometimes I'll be going like it ain't more than the lowest price property you see. I don't really love what I'm seeing right here off the cuff on this map. I feel like this is like a little bit different, close to a freeway kind of spot and tougher to comp. So I'm going to just do this really fast. We've got what looks to be a major road that we're on the corner of. So I'm going to be super picky about my comps. We've got some kind of like industrial things going on. It even faces the major road. The setback is not a lot. So this is when I'm almost automatically inclined to run the rental numbers on. Just letting you know. But I still try to get like a good market value. Well, this isn't as bad as I thought it would be. This looks like it could be an okay rental. It's not as like, I mean, it's not busy. Good fence would go a long way. But I'd still be thinking about that rental situation. This looks a little bit more residential than I expected it to, but it's still better than an interior lot. And the industrial stuff around us I'm not crazy about all that. So I like to look for those things in my comps. I don't like that I'm not finding that. These little interior lots right here with these, cuter, little brick homes are going to have a much higher value. You know what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily find them to be comps. So this is one of the reasons I always have loved having multiple softwares to go to see if they differ on comps. I mean, I can't go much further back than 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So I also am always looking for, and am about to pull up PropStream for this reason, because I don't see some of this data available. I know that this is something that is going to get better in batch. I also know the reason why, some markets don't have that information. It's in batch necessarily. So long story short, Market land value, total market value. Sometimes those are things that I'll look at. That's what it's telling me. So that does make me feel a little bit better. Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, I'm still going to be looking for rental comps on this, right? So what are the rent rates going for that size of home? So on and so forth. Definitely running rental numbers on this. Also, I'm going to pull up two things. Don't get mad at me for telling you this doesn't work, but seeing for kicks and giggles what I've been having to do in a scenario like this. Please speed up, bro. What I've been having to do in a scenario like this is verify everything on here with Zillow. I'm not even joking, y'all. That's killing me. Smalls. Did I pull up the wrong? Look at this. Totally different looking house. Which one is it? Does it look like this or does it look like that? And you can deal with this or you can deal with that. It looks like these are new windows, so maybe it looks like this now. That bugger needs a new roof. Bad. So what's interesting about this is that this says the estimate is $74,000. This is the rent. This I would go on here, verify my rental comps, and I'm looking for potentially what do I see that might be different type of thing. Also, a lot of times in a market like Jackson, you really, really want to pay attention to. Here we go. Dang. I was hoping something would come up right here. Because I don't think that this is going to be worth anywhere near that amount on that street corner. I just don't think so. But yeah, they don't have any information that I don't have, and then I'm not seeing any comps pull at all in PropStream. So I don't want to waste y'all's time showing you stuff like that. But I still split test it all the time if I'm not getting great comps on something like this. So yeah. You're looking for what an appraiser is going to have to use. Again, I got nothing. I don't even feel like this is pulling at the right area. But these don't have numbers. Sold, but this estimate. So, with that being said, this is the best we got. I'm running it based on rentals. I'm going to be honest with you. Or I would go off of like the lowest comp that has this kind of situation. I don't think this has a garage. Yeah, this doesn't have a garage, so take off another 10,000 if your comps do. I think they did. I mean, I would put it at nowhere over 105 just because of that busy street. And I would run rental numbers. So, but I mean, if you flip it, you're not going to be able to go to the nines and not. This is a dangerous situation. We've got the garage conversion. You got all kinds of stuff going on. So, anyways, that is that one. Let's see. I've got one more. I hope I was not just on my face the whole time instead of this. I have done that before. Where I just did not know that I was not showing the screen. It is so weird getting used to his keyboard. Mm-hmm. 1983, 1489 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Let's go. I mean, this looks like all day, baby. Ba-bow, ba-bow, ba-bow. Probably not as remodeled or updated. Ba-bow, ba-bow. I mean, easy peasy breezy. Cover girl. Oh man, I hope that doesn't make me get my video taken down like I'm trying to use CoverGirl to get likes and follows. Speaking of likes and follows, smash that like button for me. If y'all are still there. I got crickets for a while now. Nobody said anything for like 15 minutes. Are y'all that engaged in my comping skills? Or did I put you to sleep? I mean, if y'all don't tell me that you love this and it's helpful, I'm going to start thinking that you don't need me. All right, let's see what these bad boys come up with right here, right? So I picked what looks to be pretty stable numbers, 155 all the way up to 180, or is that a 6? 155 to 175 right here. I may take a look at this Cottage Park Street Drive in a minute, but I picked those real fast because they're super close, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through those comps really fast, but I'm going to look right at that street view. I just like to do it on a separate tab while I'm doing my live. Hey, Steve H. I'm glad you're watching. See, this makes me feel better because I didn't even know you were watching. Anthony, good to see you. Thank you. Definitely good to try to learn. It's so crazy. Like, I oftentimes let people reach out to me after the show and realize I have a lot more people watching than I realize while I'm on the show. Okay, so what do we got here? We got to figure out the style of our home, our look, what are our surrounding neighborhood. Oh, another thing I didn't go over earlier that I usually do, you want to make sure, I mentioned this in the last comp in that there was some kind of industrial stuff going on around me, but it also is important to note if you have like multifamily or commercial properties around you, within view of your yard. I mean, people find that less desirable. So I said that because I saw the church just from doing this. I do it pretty fast, you guys. If this tells you how much faster I actually comp compared to when I'm teaching. But we're down here. This is our subject property. And I was like, wait, I was standing right here and I'm like, what's this? Okay, it's a church. It doesn't make it feel not very neighborhoody from, 5 doors down. We're good. But those things stick out to me. I'm looking for that. And I was telling one of the guys on our team, I'm an eagle eye. Why are you trying to sneak some stuff past me? Anyways, so one of the things I wanted to point out on this one right here. Of course, we have properties like everywhere from this view, like 90,000. If you start going over here, you see 70,000, right? I'm not like getting so crazy about this. We are within a mile, right? We're not crossing this road or this big whatever piece of land. I'm looking at what's in our direct neighborhood first and foremost. I've got 4 right there. They're going to give me a price per square foot. They're going to give me a number. I mean, right here, not up here, right? This is the estimated value is this, but that's taken into consideration just default stuff. That's like being as accurate as a Zestimate. It does not always work. You want to pull comps because you want to be experienced and knowledgeable about what kind of what you're buying and how to run numbers correctly on it, you know? So as a buyer, I am running detailed comps. You know, I'm getting 4 to 6. I'm seeing what my market can hold. This, you know, while you might want to pick this as a comp, it looks like it's probably not going to be a comp because it's on a big old piece of land. That's why it's sold for more. You looking at this one? Maybe it is like in kind, but this looks to be a little bit different of a neighborhood. We might have to look into it. You looking at this one? This one had to be on a bigger piece of land to sell for 175 over here, but you didn't need that over here, did you? No. I'm just telling you from this little picture that I'm seeing, right? I'm guessing that's the same situation. You just can't tell from the picture, and the same situation you can't tell from the picture. And the reason why I say it is because look at how big that front yard is minimally from where they stood to get the photo. I mean, I'm just making real good assumptions based on the fact that I've pulled a bajillion comps in my life. So I'm pretty much going to end up sticking to these 4, and I'm going to verify that we have a similar situation. I know this house has brick, not siding. We're not going too overboard on our rehab, so I'm also going to have a little wiggle room there. Look at this view. I mean, this is a pretty big lot. You're going to look into some lot sizes here. I could have been wrong. Look at that big old yard. Man, I'm just thinking about family football and making my dogs chase their toys, yelling at my dogs to come inside when it's dark because I can't see them because my yard's so big. It looks like a lot of these actually do have pretty substantial lots. This is a very similar siding house, so that makes me feel good. So is this one with obvious updates. But again, we're dealing with like, oh no, this one has granite. This isn't, I mean, this is not over rehab to me, but the other house did not have granite. They had laminate. The other house didn't have this cute little walk-off back porch. So I really like this one as a comp. And oddly enough, that one sold for a lot less, interestingly enough. Huh. Odd. So these are acre lots, which as is ours. Interestingly enough, this one over here on an acre lot sold for the same price. You know, I would double check, but I'm guessing it will be a comp. So are y'all seeing kind of how I go through? Now this doesn't have more photos. It has less square footage than ours by a couple hundred, but I like it for a comp. We're doing a law of averages here, you guys. I don't think necessarily 185 is going to give us our ticket, but I think, you know, 175 looks real good to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't pick 180. I could pick this one as my 6th comp to average some things out. And I mean, you could say your ARV is 178 instead of 175. That would make sense because some of these weren't as updated, but that's where I would be landing for a full remodel. Everything's updated to be in the condition of the best one on there photos wise. Some of those didn't have photos, but I'm making sure that those build years are intact. The square footage is going to kind of balance out on the adjustments on the sheet, so on and so forth. And I like that one for 178. I like it. I think it will sell. Now, I don't know how much work you have to put into it to get it there, but it's pretty cute. It's pretty cute over there. Let's see. La-di-da-di-da. All right, Steve, here in Boston. Thank you for joining us from Boston. I'm enjoying your work and chill vibes. Thank you. I'm glad that people pick up on my chill vibes because I'm actually a pretty intense person at times. Very like serious about what I do. I'm very passionate, so I can also be kind of intense and hardcore. Just ask my team at our morning meetings how they feel like how chill I am at the beginning of the day. Yeah, I'm very like Viking woman. Just bought this South Mercy. What? All right, I'll pop that in really fast. This is weekly show, Peter. I did not go live last week. I have been going live weekly for the most part. Wednesdays at 3 Central Time. You know, sometimes travel throws that off a day or events, etc. Sometimes there's a chance, you know, that I have to reschedule or I'll skip. But for the most part, that's why it's really good for you to like and follow, add me on social medias. Don't spell my name wrong. There is no E on the end. And you can follow me on there and get notifications for when I'm going live. Oftentimes, like when we schedule it, oftentimes it'll be like Monday, Tuesday that we schedule it, sometimes sooner. But yeah, most of the time it's Wednesdays at 3 Central. La-di-da-da-da. They do. That's just skip tracing season. That is where we do all of our skip tracing. And you can get your first month half off using promo code Titanium. Woo! Down there at the bottom. Okay, so Horacio, I will pop that in. What do I think ARV could be? I will go with assumption that we need a full flip. We're going to take it to the max market value. But what if I would disagree with that? Sometimes, you guys, while I'm pulling this up, I will talk about this really fast. Wow. Sometimes I don't think it's always the best plan to go with the max 8 ARV HGTV plan because you make the same amount of money and you save in some holding costs and you sell faster. You're not trying to always, like, it's not always a good idea to try to list at the top of the market. You know what I mean? So while I'm pulling all of this up off the top of my head, I'm thinking that this is going to land around 80 to 100 in my head. I actually am trying right now. This looks like a little castle to me. Oh, I don't know. You might be able to up that ARV if you can make that into a rooftop party deck. Okay. This looks like a really good rental area to me. And it doesn't look like we have a garage. I'm serious. Is this like a little rooftop? It's a rooftop deck. How do you get there? I'm here for it. My Instagram is my first and last name, which is spelled this way: Cassi DeHaas, CASSIDE, capital HAAS. All right. I'm so glad you'll be here. Do we often wholesale corporate owned or only individuals? We kind of deal with a mixed bag of properties that we buy or wholesale. We deal with a lot of like landlords. You really love the property. Awesome. Comp queen in the house. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it looks like a really cool opportunity from when the street view is taken anyhow. And yeah, it is super unique. So we need to start going into some details with these comps. And what I'm going to do is try to go a little bit broader, because we're going to happen to be looking more so at what the market can sustain when you have a more unique property, right? Why are you acting up? Where is this? Is this like down by Corpus, Houston? Oh my goodness. This is in Texas? It doesn't feel like Texas anymore. This is... All right, so see what happened? I have a lot more data to process now that I've like gone broader on my comps. I know a little bit more about my market. These are newer homes. This does tell me something though, you guys. So this one sold for 95. It looks like a whole different barrel of monkeys. I think this is kind of an eclectic area from what I can tell. I'm just curious. I got to do this again. Sorry. I got to look at this map view. Near Brownsville. Okay. I'm like, where is this? Being a Texas gal, I'm like, this is like, yeah. I was like figuring, I'm like, this is like almost in Mexico. And I've never heard of Mercedes, Texas. Where is Brownsville? I mean, I was just going to say McAllen. Is there? I think there's more than one McAllen. There's Brownsville. Yep. South Texas, you could say. I love it. I love that about Texas, and that there's like so much. I know more about like certain states than I do the whole state I live in sometimes, you know, because it's just huge. Let's pull up a couple of these and see what we got. I'm sticking with this bad boy. Otherwise, I mean, just because it's not one of the newer builds, I understand like this needs some updating, but it's clean and livable, has a garage. I don't think we have a garage. My goodness. So in this case, I'm looking for a market cap. You definitely don't want to try to be in a price point that is as high as any of these new builds, right? Or newer constructions. So when I say that, what I mean is like, you want to be careful of this cookie cutter ranch style home. They listed it at 140 and it was built in 2005. So you definitely don't want to try to think you're going to get anywhere near that, just to be on the safe side without like super evidence. I don't understand if that is land. Let's look at this one. This one is a 112 converted garage, 1993. So that's a little bit closer, but I honestly, with a lot less square footage, you know, if I'm selecting those to make sure to give myself a good market comp, because that is what an appraiser will have to do. I know this goes a little bit against my normal quote unquote comp rules. But again, you would end up popping in here and looking on different platforms to try to see if you can verify. I know for a fact, in some markets in Texas, Propelio is working. So I'm going to probably go try that really fast to see if I can get anything else on it. And again, sometimes when I'm on the struggle bus on a comp, which I get a lot of those on this show because people want to give me their tough ones. You know what I'm saying? Not, I mean, you bought it, so it's not like you're trying to do that. That's not what I'm saying about you, but so yeah, I don't. This has been this way for a couple of months. Don't get it. I don't think you're shooting for the stars. I think that just depends on what you do with the property. I mean, you could make the property worth a little bit more than that even if you added square footage, but I don't know that I would do that that's the best exit strategy, you know? I don't think that's shooting for the stars. And then you can also verify stuff as another, that, like I said, it looks like, why won't it give me numbers anywhere? And I don't know what you bought it for, but I don't think that's too unreasonable. I mean, look at this. This is clearly not remodeled and sold for almost 70. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on what you do with it. But I don't think like a remodeled house of that size. This has less square footage. I think less bedrooms and bathrooms, sold for 67 in May of last year. I don't think you're on the moon. I just don't want you to get up into that point of where you're looking at like, you know, I'm going to do a price per square foot analysis because it's an original, unique home in an eclectic area, right? So that's why like some of those rules of thumb that I go over at the beginning of the show, the rules that I have, they're just not always applicable or perfect, and an appraiser has to put something on that, right? The house is going to comp with something. It's going to be Instagram ready to be continued. Well, Instagram ready can be a subjective term. So don't go too far on it and overshoot. And that's something that I talk about all the time as a flipper. You don't want to over rehab a property for what it can sustain when you could put, you know, just because you want to make it look, you know, gorgeous and you like hardwood floors, like this house doesn't need hardwood floors. You can put a more affordable material in it and actually make more money on the money you put into it. So, but I'm excited to see it. Let me know how it goes. Shoot me an inbox or tell me on here and I'll look it up one day. So that being said, I am going to go get ready for my new class of Titans. January, my first 2022 class. I'm excited. And I look forward to comping some more for you guys, and we'll see you next week.